might need to be like an after. You might need to leave that in.
Ready.
Welcome to the latest Watercolors Aquarium Gallery video, brought to you from the Aquarium Rush Studios in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We are starting a new series today. They don't even know it. Well, kind of they know it. So this is going to be the mystery topic series, where one of us has a topic, and the other two of us don't know what it is.
That'll be
fun.
fun.
Maybe you do know what it is.
I do know what it is.
You do know what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just I know. So I'm being hijacked.
2 against 1 this time.
So what are we talking about today?
So, how many times have you had someone come into the store and say, so I'm looking for a big aggressive fish, like a piranha or a shark? To which the response is a cautious, aggressive is a very strong word here.
What do you want, a big aggressive fish or a piranha? Which one?
Or a shark for that matter.
The direction I'm going here is, what's the distinction between being predatory and being aggressive? And then moving on from that, when it comes to aggression, what causes it and how can you mitigate it?
Right.
It's one of my favorite topics. It's one of the topics that I feel like we have like some of the best answers for to make people really understand what aggression really is. And aggression and predation are completely different things.
Yeah.
There's aggressive predators, but really that's not where aggression comes from. Aggression is mostly herbivores. They're the most aggressive fish in the hobby.
Yeah, this happened to me yesterday actually. I had somebody looking at our Malawi cichlid peacock tank.
Yeah.
So, I bet you guys are feeding these all kinds of feeders. I'm like, no, we don't really feed feeder fish anyway, but these are herbivores. It's like, oh? I thought they were supposed to be really aggressive. Yeah, they are.
Now, I just want to, I've been smirking for the last 2 minutes. I didn't tell him beforehand what the topic was,
Right.
because I knew he was going to have that reaction, and I wanted that genuine reaction.
What, this one?
Yeah.
That is the reaction that you usually have when you have those kinds of conversations.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so my canned response whenever somebody asks me that question is, there are 3 things that trigger aggression. Are you going to steal my house? Are you going to steal my food? Are you going to steal my girlfriend? Right? Those 3, that's it. If a competitor or a target of aggression is not going to do one of those 3 things, they don't care. There's not going to be an issue with that fish. So if you have a big round fish and a long skinny fish, they probably are not going to care about each other, because those body shapes determine food and house. Sometimes girlfriend too, but definitely food and house.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, going back to our Malawi cichlid example, when we put a bristlenose pleco in that tank, those very aggressive fish have absolutely no interest in that little pleco.
Right. And that's actually would be a competitor,
Yeah.
because they're not
Well, true.
beings, right?
But
With
the
Buddhism.
look is so different that they don't think that they are.
They don't recognize that. Yep. So the 3 triggers of aggression: shape, color, and size. Right? Shape. If you're the same shape as me, you probably either ate the same foods or live in the same house. Right? Color. If you're the same color as me, there's a pretty good possibility that you go after the same kind of foods, hide in the same place, or most likely, and this is where the aggression comes from, are going to try to steal my girlfriend. And by the way, I'm not being sexist here, because the colorful, aggressive fish are generally males.
Yeah.
Right? Most of the time. There are a few exceptions, but most of the time it's pretty safe to say, gonna steal my girlfriend.
Yeah. Female bettas being.
right. And then size is the one that's a little bit more obvious, because little fish most of the time know not to mess with big fish, and big fish don't really care about little fish trying to steal their territory.
Like, is a big fish and a small fish compatible? I've seen arapaima and guppies living very happily together in a public aquarium.
Right.
Because they're so small that they're not an aggressive trigger, and they don't even bother to try and eat them.
It's not worth picking up the breadcrumbs that is a guppy. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should talk a little bit too about predation and what are the risks of that. We have conversations about shrimp all the time. Is this gonna eat my shrimp? Is this aggressive and gonna eat my shrimp? Is usually what that is. If one fish has a big enough mouth to eat something else, they probably almost definitely will.
Yeah, even if they're traditionally an herbivore. It's definitely true that those herbivorous cichlids from Lake Malawi, if you throw a bunch of little guppies in there, they're gonna all get eaten.
Oh yeah.
It's not a typical food source. It's not even a good food source for umbunas, for the rock-dwelling cichlids of Lake Malawi. But they're gonna do it.
Yeah. If you're a fish, you don't pass up an opportunity.
Right.
Yeah, like when it comes to predatory nature, it's like let's talk about the sharks.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good one.
If they can't eat it,
If it doesn't fit in their mouth.
they don't care that it exists. And that's why when people are like, I want an aggressive shark, I'm like, well, it's not really aggressive. Like, and then people are like, isn't predation a type of aggression? I'm like, is it aggressive when I like eat a cheeseburger? Now aggression would be if I stole your cheeseburger.
Right.
It's not quite the same thing.
Competing for my food source.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is a dog that chases a squirrel aggressive? Probably not necessarily.
Probably that's more trying to be a predator. They're not chasing something away.
It's instinct.
Yeah. Yeah. In our aquariums, that aggression is due to competition. And in nature, if there were two aggressive territorial fish, one would chase the other one away. There's not the opportunity to chase something else away in an aquarium because it's too small.
Yeah.
So how would you mitigate aggression in a tank?
Mitigating aggression has to do with territories, right? Again, address those same three factors. Are you going to try to steal my food, my house, or my girlfriend? And then we're going to go those in different order. Start with house. If there's a risk of stealing houses, make sure there's a lot of them. One of the ways to get Malawi cichlids to get along better is to put a big, huge pile of rocks in there. They're actually less likely to hide if there are more hiding places. If there are less hiding places, the big aggressive fish are going to feel like they need to stay in those hiding places to defend them. If there's plenty of places to dash into, they don't need to defend those hiding places.
Seems fair.
If it's something like Central or South American cichlids, even with the pistos, that can be kind of aggressive. Put in barriers to territory so that they don't necessarily have to look at each other.
Yeah.
Those can be vertical, those can be horizontal, but some way so you can break up those territories.
Yeah. And if they need to chase, it can be a satisfying, yep, I don't see them anymore. They're gone.
Good enough.
Two methods for pistos I've heard is the phrase would be break line of sight.
Yep.
And one of the more clever ones I've heard is shallower tanks. Because then they can't see as far.
Yeah.
So they can't get up and look over the rock. There's something in the way. That's a really good idea. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and we've got two groupers that we just added together, and he's definitely got the handle on that. If I stay up here, if he pokes his head out, I'm going to see it every time.
Yep, for
And
sure.
when you're first adding two groupers together, yeah, they're going to be a little bit territorial.
Right. Food is another way to try and mitigate aggression. And this is one that there's definitely a balance that you have to achieve. Hungry fish will be more aggressive than well-fed fish. If there's plenty of food coming into the tank, they don't need to be aggressive and defend that food source. Now the risk there, of course, our other favorite mantra is, if there's something wrong with the tank, it's because you're feeding too much.
Yeah,
right?
true.
If there's something wrong with the tank, you're feeding
too much. Yes, that's it. Like most of the time. That's a topic for a whole nother video.
Yeah.
We need to go there sometime soon, right? But most of the time, and yes, I'm actually using the word most, if there's something wrong with your aquarium, you're probably feeding too much. So finding that balance between curbing aggression with hungry fish and not overfeeding the tank is something that definitely has to be addressed.
Yeah. And there's a point of diminishing returns there. Enough food is enough food no matter how much you put in.
Right.
Stuffing your fish so that they can't move might limit aggression,
Yeah.
but probably not in a good way.
Or having so much that it pollutes the water that the
Yeah.
fish feel unhealthy that they don't want to bother with aggression.
Yeah, that's not really the way that we want to
No.
do that.
No.
The flip side of that is, I've also heard well, these fish won't eat each other if you just feed them enough.
No. The analogy I like there is, if you keep a lion with a herd of lambs, it does not matter how much steak you give the lion, it's going to eat the lambs.
Yeah.
Or even
Fair
like,
enough.
let's say you just fed Splash.
Right.
You put down something nice and juicy in front of her.
She's gonna eat it.
She's gonna make room.
Plus that chase instinct, that prey instinct. If something swims away from you, it's probably trying to get away from you, and you probably need to chase it, and that's going to cause. I have seen Oscars with their face so completely stuffed full that there's absolutely no way they could fit another whatever they're eating in their mouth. they're still going to try.
And they still probably will.
Yeah.
So I think the two mitigating factors we haven't talked about yet is how do we mitigate for size and color then?
So color, if it's a male-female relationship, and if it's two males that are competing with each other, it's the same territory differences, or providing enough females, or simply, with some circumstances, you simply can't keep two males together. But it's, so our clown killifish is an excellent example of the right amount of size with the right amount of space and the right amount of females in the tank. The tank is big enough for clown killies. It's a 60-gallon aquarium for a little bitty fish. The males get along fine in that tank. If you would try to put that kind of concentration into a 2.5-gallon tank, it just wouldn't work. Not because of water quality, but because of the aggression of those males. They can't chase each other away. They have those little micro territories. So you have to base that on the size of the territory of the male competing for the female.
Yeah, this is where it becomes very useful to know the type of behavior of the fish you're keeping, because like how I would mitigate aggression in like an episto is not really the same strategy I'd go with like an mbuna.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's two very different strategies there. And
It's
sorry,
true.
that twitch there was me being like, could you flip it? And I was like, no.
It's so unique.
Right. We do that sometimes with the a peacock, or what we call a hap tank, with a bunch of males in the tank. Don't put a female in there. The males don't have anything to fight over. Put a female in there, they might have something to fight over. It might be a big problem. But a bunch of male haps living together are just kind of like a bunch of bros chilling. Add one girl, and all of a sudden the bros go, yeah, could be a problem. Size, mitigate size. Don't put a fish in a tank with fish that are big enough to eat it.
Yeah.
That one's easy.
When we're working with tangs a lot of the time, there can be some aggression issues between different species even. So we go with ones that are vastly different sizes to start, because that's going to limit that factor, and ones that are different colors.
If you put two tangs in that are the same size, they have to try and decide who's boss.
Yeah.
Right? If they're different sizes, there doesn't have to be a competition with who's boss. And 9 times out of 10, the smaller tang will say, okay, boss.
No, thank you.
It's like imagine you're at the bar and the guy that's like 6'9" stands up and you're like,
Nope,
Is this your seat? Right. That works in nature too.
yeah, that's the situation you're trying to simulate here in your tank.
Yeah.
You want that. No thanks.
Yeah. We often get frustrated at our fish for not behaving the way we hope or think that they're going to. These are some of the rules that you can use so that you don't have to be mad at your fish.
Try to mitigate the circumstances a little bit.
Of course.
Yeah, I like it. Well, that's a good idea, Charles. I like this topic idea, and we're going to do more of these where we surprise the rest of us.
That's a
See
good
what
idea.
the reactions are.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Check us out on our podcasts. Look at our Facebook pages, all that other stuff.
Yeah. And be sure to like and subscribe to this video. We're still putting out some more of these, so subscribing is the way to get to see them first.
Yep. And thank you very much for watching. Have fun and keep those hands wet.